Oh, hello. Hello, hi King Vader. How you doing? How are we doing? Are we well? I need to get music up. Apologies, I'm a little rushed. I had to restart my computer because OBS would not connect to Twitch. In fact, my bot wouldn't connect to Twitch. Twitch was being a thing. That's fine. Let's get some music. Here's Don't Starve, why not? Still quite loud, isn't it? Oh no, it's loud in my ears. Hang on. Oh, janky. It wouldn't be a 2020 stream without a bit of jank. Okay, that should be fine. Hello! How are we doing? Hi, Kira. Hi, how are you? You doing well? Hi, Christy. I got your card today, Christy, and it was very nice. It made me tear up a little bit. Thank you very much. It's very kind. I'll have to take a photo of the front cover of the front and stick it in Discord because it's very nice. Yeah. How are we doing? Are we well? Still 2020, so it's fine. I don't like the implication that I have to be better next year. Yeah. So, welcome to the recap of the year and the hopes for next year. It's a stream, hopefully. And yeah, we're gonna have a little chill chat. Don't really have many plans, but I mean, I did that. But other than that, it was very nice. Thank you very much. Hello, Achib. How you doing? Oh, hang on, we still have the. Let's get rid of those. Yes. So, the year's almost at an end. There's another day left, but you know. You're bad. Oh no. Oh no. Hang on. Give some love for the chip. There is some love for a chip. Got a bad stomachache since yesterday evening. Oh no. Oh. Well, I hope that passes swiftly. Make sure you rest up and all that. I don't really know what you do for a stomachache. Do whatever is required to make it go fast. Yeah, I hope you feel better. How's your back doing, Kira? Is that good? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is getting all their aches and pains and that out of the way now, and then you'll have none for the rest of next year. That's the plan. Yeah. Also, I just realised I've had both headphones on, so I was probably speaking a bit loud. Yeah, many hugs for the chip. Yeah, make sure you're resting. So 2020, eh? Cool. That was the thing. He's hoping next year's a little bit better, but we've been saying that for 4 or 5 years on the run. But, you know, 2020 has been particularly bad, must be said. So 2021's going to have to do quite a lot to outstrip that title. So yeah, we did one of these last year, where I just sort of talked through stuff I wanted to do, and I made little doodles and talked about plans for 2020. And I have it here. I found it. There it is. These are the things I said I would do this year. We'll make it better. That's the thing. Yeah, proactivity. We'll make it better. In Denmark, we say plain bread, and funnily enough, Coca-Cola. I'm not sure about that. Look, if somebody tells me to drink Coke for a bad stomach, I'm going to drink Coke. Does Diet Coke work? Hope Diet Coke works. So this is what I did last year. This time last year, roughly. And these were all the plans I had for the year. And if we cross off the ones that I didn't do, we're left with a pretty slim pickings. Basically streaming and October and company. That was it. And that is honestly pretty solid summary of everything I did this year, was streaming and October. Yeah, the year's been a bit of, you know, what's the term? Treading water? Is that the term? Treading water? What is it? Floating. I've been floating. Not really progressing or advancing. I decided to look up my business expenses and costs and profits and all that sort of stuff. Did music stream. I did a little bit of music streams. I did a little bit of watercolor, and a little bit of programming, but I didn't really finish anything proper. So the music was mostly like, oh, I'm going to record the music that I've been saying I'm going to record for ages. Funnily enough, that's on my list for next year. I don't learn, do I? But yeah, I decided to look up my sort of business ins and outs, and we'll get onto that later, I guess. But what was interesting is that I lost money, obviously, because I had a plan this year, and then all of those plans got thrown out of the window for obvious reasons. So as a consequence, I just ended up doing the same as I was doing last year, and I looked at how much I lost compared to last year, and it was 95 pence more than last year. So less than £1 difference, which I found very funny. So if you wanted evidence that I've stagnated over the last year, that's pretty good. But yeah, so 2020 didn't quite go to plan. So what are we doing for next year? That's the, well, actually, let's focus a bit more on what did happen this year and how hopefully we can go forward fixing it. As I said, this year was basically sort of stagnating. I had all these plans for, like, here was a whole section on growth, of how I would grow. I could do like daily drawings, and I'd learn environment design and color theory and anatomy and do more commissions, and I didn't do any of those things apart from commissions for Dark, because I didn't try to. I had other plans and they didn't work, and then I just didn't try. That's a pretty solid description of most of what happened this year. I just didn't try. I just plodded along. Yeah. Oh, that was it. I wrote down, I have some little notes to keep me on track of the stuff I wanted to talk about. There's not much of complaining about this year, don't worry. It's mostly going to be talking about next year and stuff that I want to do. But I wrote down, no major leaps forward, no big changes, just treading water in a slowly emptying lake. It's a pretty accurate description of what happened this year. Yeah, so I started, one of the plans I wanted to do this year, actually, I don't know whether I put it on here, was it? I don't think so. No, one of the plans I wanted to do was sort of like merchandise and stuff, so making like some art for posters and sort of things to sell, designs for t-shirts and all that sort of stuff, and then manufacture these things and then attend conventions and try and, you know, make connections and sell them to people and all that sort of stuff. And obviously that plan didn't happen. But I also didn't make the art for it, so part of me can say it's the world's problem, and part of me can say that it's my problem. One of the other problems that happened this year, which is a consequence of what happened last year, was last year my work ethic wasn't fantastic, in the sense of I would work solidly for like 4 days, and then burn out, and then not do anything for 3 days, and then do the same again once I'd recovered. And that wasn't great, because I destroyed my elbow and shoulder, as well as my work ethic, it turns out, because this year I have had trouble concentrating for any length of time, and found it very easy to be distracted by pretty much everything. So this year was very much a time spent being distracted and not actually getting on with stuff. So that's one thing to focus on. I can be more productive next year if I just put safeguards in place to avoid distraction, because I can't apparently rely on my ability just to not do it. Mood indeed, yes. Yeah, and I've mentioned the 95p thing. I just checked that today out of interest, and it just made me laugh. Yeah, but I did do things this year, and that's something to I wasn't sitting around doing absolutely nothing. In particular, these two things. Focus is hard. It is. So apparently I made 58 October comics. I had a look at that. Some of them were good, but I made 58 of them, and that is something, you know. And they're minimum 4 panels, maximum 6. But they're 4 or 6 panels, and you know, I designed all the characters for it. I did that this year, and I don't know how many characters there are. About 30 characters, maybe. A lot of characters. I did the thing in October where I did like a special drawing for all of them, and I put it all together. That was a thing I did. Most, if not all of them, were good. Have you looked at the old ones? See, the original idea for October and Company was it's supposed to be really simply drawn, just really cartoony, so that I would have time to work on other things. And obviously that didn't happen. But yeah, and this was like, I think this was like the first public picture I drew of October, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then we talked about other stuff. And it's the only thing I did. But yeah, I did that. I'm also working on the book of putting it all together at the end, so I'm working on that alongside making everything. So that's a lot of the work. Also some commissions as well. I started a Discord this year. I did start a Discord this year. That's part of the sort of Patreon stuff. I have done Patreon stuff. I've made, I think, 11 sticker sheets for Patreon, as well as some watercolors. So that was cool. I started making videos again, and I'm quite pleased with how it's going. Yeah, so Patreon stuff. I mean, Patreon is generally sort of, in terms of outside interest and general stats, it is like slowly declining, but that's something I want to try and fix next year with actually advertising my things. That's on my list of things to do. Actually, you know, cross-pollinate all of my different things, tell my Instagram about my, you know, streams, and tell my streams about Patreon, and tell my Patreon about comics, and just actually tell people in different places that I have other things in different places. Yeah. I made the Foggate book. That was at the beginning of this year. I also checked the stats for that. It's so far made £25 after production costs. It's all progress, just not as fast as you want. It's also in directions I didn't want. Foggate was this year. I finished it this year. I think we did the DLC comics in the year, so the last 4 were at the beginning of the year, and the book came out then. So, yeah, did that. The other advancement that I had, because, yeah, the other sort of advancement I have on here is not sort of a material one, but it's a mental one, because while my ability to focus hasn't been amazing, I have noticed that this year, and I know this year's been hard for a lot of people, and I don't want this to be a kind of like me going, oh, look how great I am compared to how bad everyone else has been. But I was surprised looking back at how much better I was at dealing with mental health problems. Last year was bad. Last year was very bad for that sort of thing. And this year hasn't been fantastic, it must be said, but I'm getting a lot better at recognizing it and sort of seeing when it's coming on and trying to do things to deal with the consequences of that. So I thought I'd put that on the list because, yeah, it got bad in the middle of the year. But something did also come out of that, so we'll talk about that later. Mental improvement's always something to be celebrated. Yeah. Like 5 years ago, if you'd have told me anything about mental health, I'd be like, oh, yeah, whatever. What is that, like dementia? Or... And now not only am I sort of recognizing it, I'm recognizing it in myself and hopefully taking steps towards helping. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, and I know this year has been very hard for some people, and I want to stress that, you know, if you've been having a bad time this year, perfectly understandable. I mean, it's perfectly understandable. In general, it's no one's fault. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that as a personal plus. And then there's the category of things that weren't bad, but also weren't good. They just sort of happened, like streams. They were nice. Streams were good. It's perfectly acceptable, but nothing changed. I just did the same kind of streams that I did last year. You know, kept doing draw-throughs, kept doing game stuff, kept doing doodles. Streams. Next year, I've got a lot of more interesting ideas that will probably fall on their face, but it's worth a try. Yeah, I could have tried a bit harder with streaming this year, or I could have tried a bit different, at least. But yeah, it's been, I mean, you know, the end of the year, I started doing collaborative streams with the Chib and the Dark, and that was fun. So do more of that next year. That's a good time. Yeah, I also did some commissions for Dark, although I will say that I don't think I actually did them. I didn't take that as an opportunity to learn anything, which is a very missed sort of instant. I just sort of, I mean, I'm not saying I wasn't creative with them, but in terms of technique, I probably could have used it as an opportunity to, okay, let's actually study how you're supposed to paint hands. You know, something like that. But hey, these things happen. Fun times with friends! Yeah, lots of that next year, hopefully. Fingers crossed. He says as if he doesn't have control over that. Yeah, so that's basically last year. Didn't do any of the other stuff I said I'd do. That's fine. Plans are there to be abandoned. Or abandoned, if you prefer. I don't. So yeah. Studying art is hard, you just want to draw your thingies. That's also perfectly acceptable. Unfortunately, I want to study. I just don't do it. Oh, okay, I've broken my tablet. That's good. That happens occasionally. There might be a do-do-do-do. There it is. Yeah. Luckily, you can turn down the volume of system sounds in the audio mixer, so they don't come out as loud on stream. Which is why you still don't know how to draw cats even though you wanted to study. You were drawing cats in like loads of different styles, let alone learning how to draw cats full stop. Not everything has to be an art study. Absolutely not. Unfortunately, I wanted it to be a specific year for studying art. So again, it all depends on whatever your criteria are. Right. 2021. Professional times. I planned this. So we're now going to look forward. I'm going to look forward to the things that I want to do and the things that that you want to do as well. This is not just a one-way street. I want you guys to tell me what you're looking forward to and what you plan to do. Started out as a studying, then you just mostly started copying. I mean, that's basically the first step of studying, isn't it? That's what I plan to do in next year. Going to do a lot of copying. And then go, I wonder how can I tried to copy this, but it didn't work. Why didn't it work? So on and so forth. Started out studying, and then you mostly... Oh, I just read that. Yeah, you're doing the... Yeah, drawing cats in these styles, so on and so forth. Good old shrimp method. Why is it called the shrimp method? Also, hi, Ragdoll. How you doing? Yeah. Ooh. This is calming music, isn't it? So, yes. Stuff. Things to do next year. General point. This is not a project or anything. Focus. Or more accurately, I can't even write. So yeah, I've been saying generally speaking, let's draw a picture. Generally speaking, I've been trying to focus a little harder, but I found it quite difficult this year to stay away from distractions, and I've sort of come to the conclusion that, hey, maybe I should actually do something about those distractions. Rather than trying to avoid them, maybe I should just make sure they can't arise in the first place, maybe? Just a thought. So yeah, I've got sort of plans in action for that. And I sort of look back on, you know, the time spent actually doing things versus the time spent getting distracted from things, and I think I could do about like another third of the work that I've done without any additional effort, just not getting distracted. Now, realistically, that's not going to happen, obviously. Distractions, you know, it's a state of mind, it's not just a material thing, but... the shrimp method. Let's have a look, shall we? I'm gonna have to look at that after the stream. Many things. I think distractions were what kept us all sane this year, to be honest. Possibly. Also, hi, Miss. How you doing? But there's lots of distractions. We'll actually get to that because distractions in and of themselves are not problematic, because one of the distractions was actually constructive. We'll get to that when I talk about the things I want to do next year. I'm fine with a constructive distraction. Also, hi Chris, I'm good. How are you doing? Oh, I'm alright. I'm plodding along. Put it in Discord too. Marveloso. Yeah. So yeah, focus. Glasses as well. I don't wear glasses, but they're good for focusing, right? Instructions is your bread and butter. It's the thing. But like I was just getting distracted by things that are very unproductive. Just watching, you know, not rather than doing work. I'm watching that stream that I've watched 3 times for 3 hours. Even though I know everything that's about to happen, but I'm watching it instead of doing anything. How do that? You did it? Who? What? Who? How? I said, your plans are get a new bed. It's way past time and might help with your back pain. Fingers crossed. Good mattress is usually quite good for that sort of thing. Yeah. And declutter your room and a few other rooms in your house. But start with your room. Work on your health a bit more than you have been doing. Been neglecting things too long. I've been getting distracted a lot too. Again, 2020 was a year of distraction for everyone. I think. As Miss said, it was the coping mechanism. Just necessary for survival in the year of 2020. Yeah, another thing. And this was kind of on my list last time. Learn stuff. I've been very lax in learning new things and very ready to dismiss ideas because I don't know how to do them. Rather than going, right, I don't know how to do this. Let's work it out. Or let's look it up. Or whatever. So you're almost 500 hours of Animal Crossing. See, that's I don't think that's necessarily so bad because that's recreation, and you can, you know, that has meaning and value. A lot of the distractions I've had have not. But anyway, everyone has their own metrics and stuff. I don't want to value or devalue the things you've been doing, so they have meaning to you. Like boards under the mattress can be slightly bent too. A lot of the beds I've had, they've been bent up naturally because they're used to being bent down. So they're like, if we bend them up in advance. But yeah, having a good book. I have, by the way, I haven't planned any of this. I'm just doodling as we go. Yeah, good bed, good mattress, good times. Hopefully that helps with your back problems. Because back problems are not a joke. Pants now don't really work when your nose is the size of your ear. Fancy times. So yeah, I have a plan for this. This is not just simply the abstract concept of learn stuff. What I'm doing is I'm keeping a track. I'm one of those people who's like, I've never had any success with going, okay, this year I'm going to do this, and then on the 1st of January I'm going to put all these plans in place, and so on and so forth. I almost always, you know, it doesn't work, or I fail, or whatever, and I'm just like, just start when you have the idea. Don't start, the 1st of January isn't particularly special, just start whenever. So I've already sort of started putting this in place. Is whenever I think to myself, oh, I can't do that because I don't know how. Or I should learn that at some point. I put it on a list, and I have a little list on my desktop, which consists of all the things that I want to learn, and I'm going to try and learn a thing a day. Just something about one of those things every day and write it down in a little physical book, so that if I forget what it was, I can flick back and go, oh, that's what it was. And slowly but surely make my way towards understanding an area like computer hardware or API connections in programming or anatomy or whatever. There's lots of things I want to learn. And I want to actually make some sort of way towards doing that. So that's my plan, is to just learn a thing a day. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. And this sort of goes into sort of efficiency. I will draw a picture for this. Use time. Between university and illustrating, my sense of time is just all over the place now. Anatomy, never heard. She's very elusive. She has a really weird handshake. So yeah, my sense of my concept of time is just a mess, and how long a thing should take is a mess, because in maths things take a while, and in illustration things take a while. So you sort of think of a small project as being like, oh, like a day, or something like that. Whereas, you know, when I was a kid, small projects are like, 10 minutes. It's like, oh, something's going to take more than 20 minutes. Oh, really long. So I'm always surprised when, like, I do, oh, I need to hoover my room. That's going to take a while. And then I hoover it and it's like, oh, it's 10 minutes. How is that so quick? Because things don't take as long as you think. And as a consequence, I undervalue small chunks of time, or what I would consider small chunks of time, like half an hour. So I'm just like, oh, it's half an hour until this thing, I'll just sort of, do whatever. And I underestimate how much I can do in half an hour. So I want to try and use that time, and use those small chunks of time that will build up to big chunks of time over time. And that goes into the learning thing, if I've got like a spare half hour or whatever. It's like these doodles I've been doing for cover art for my music. I've just been doing those in between having breakfast and starting work, which I just usually browse stuff and get angry at the news. So yeah, just finding small chunks of time between other things to use in a way that is productive. I mean, I don't mean eliminate leisure. You need time to relax. You can't be going all the time. But there are just times when I think to myself, there's not enough time to be doing anything, I'll do whatever. And yeah, you're only thinking half hours and full hours. Yeah, that happens. Particularly with education systems, usually block things out in half hours and full hours. I tend to think of things in full hours. Full hours or days, or half days, like morning and afternoon. Something takes 10 minutes, I better turn it up to 30 just to be sure. Yeah, it sort of happens. And you have that thing where you're like, well, I finished this like 10 minutes before the hour. No point starting anything until the hour, so, It's like, no, you can do stuff. You can do little bits and pieces. So yeah, just effective use of time. Not at the expense of leisure, obviously. Just, if you thinking to yourself, there's no time for stuff. There probably is. You just have to think of what there is time for. Keeping lists, I find, helps. I've started keeping lists of things I need to do. And if I've got a little bit of time, I just look at the list and go, what's on the list at the moment? I've done these. 2020 art retrospective, done that. Go through comics and streams and stuff for the last stream. Yeah, done that as well. Cool, my to-do list is empty, because I forgot to put other stuff on it. To do, continue to-do list. 5 minutes past the hour, the next 25 minutes are wasted. It's such a stupid thing the brain does. But it does it. Oh, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was. We'll work stuff out. Anyway. So these are, we'll get onto specifics of what I want to do next year later, but these are just sort of generic behavioral things. Another book one. Record keeping. This year of all years, I'm sure we can all agree, has been a temporal anomaly, and keeping track of anything we've done and when we've done it has been a nightmare. So I just want to make sure that I actually write down what I do and when I do it. And also how I felt when I made it, or how I felt when I came up with it, or whatever. And then you can see like how long things took, how your attitude towards it changed, and whether you thought it was good when you finished it. It's good to keep track of these things. I always find, generally speaking, if you're coming up with an idea, it's always good to write down how you felt when you came up with it. Because invariably, as soon as you start on a project, you're gonna think it's terrible. Very quickly, you're gonna go, why am I doing this? This is awful. And it's good to have that little note with a smiley face that says, oh, this made me laugh. And you're like, okay, well, past me was happy when they came up with this, so I guess we should give it a shot. So yeah, just kind of keep a little record. I look like a hipster in the top picture. What else is hipstery? I need a scarf or something. Snood. It's not a scarf, it's a snood. Get the hair back into a bun. I don't drink coffee, so I know. Bun, there we go. Ragdoll. Ragdoll was there. My hair's not long enough to do that. Well, it might be, actually. It's been all weird today. It just keeps sticking out. I don't know why. I keep putting it down and it's just like out like that. I don't know why. So there we go. That's my focus look. Who'd have thought it? How do you draw hands holding a pencil? Like that, kind of. So yeah, just keeping a record of things, because I want to be able to look back and go, okay, I did this then, and all that sort of. It's not sort of more journal-esque than diary-esque. You know, I'm not sort of keeping track of general emotional states or events in my life, just a kind of productivity sort of thing. Because it was quite difficult this year just looking at the things I did and going, when did I do this? Because Windows is terrible at keeping track of when you did stuff. It's like, oh, this thing that you made at the beginning of the year, did you make it in September? No, I didn't. Why do you think I made it in September? It has January in it. It has the word January on it. So yeah, just having a good record of that, I think, would be sort of psychologically helpful as well. I have very small hands. Hang on, fix that. Don't clench your hand when you're writing, like I do all the time. January, September, same difference this year. Yeah, I know, it's weird. There's a project I started this year and I was like... I was doing some commissions for Dark and then there was a project I was working on and I was like... I definitely did the paintings for Dark, like Dwarf Dad and the Lizard. I definitely did those this year and I'm pretty sure I started the other project just before that at the end of last year. And I looked at it and the paintings were done in like September 2019 and the project was started in July this year, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it was March for 4 months at least this year. It's a thing. 2020 was a temporal anomaly. A white hole. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. A black hole sucks time and matter out of the universe. A white hole returns it. January and September aren't the same thing. Apparently not, no. Yeah, record keeping. That's going to be hopefully helpful next year. So that's a thing. And the last one's more of a business thing than a psychological thing. I've already kind of mentioned this. I just need to advertise my stuff. I never tell anyone I'm doing anything. I don't tell anyone about streams, don't tell anyone about videos, or comics, or Patreon, or Ko-fi, or anything I do. And it's like, I have stickers in a shop. I told people about them once, and it didn't lead to any sales, so I stopped. And it's like, no, that's not how advertising works. Next year it'll be March for 4 days just to balance things out. You might miss my birthday, that's fine though. No, it will be your birthday for 4 days in a row. You will get 4 birthdays. We'll make sure of that. Yeah, how do you advertise? I don't know. Big issue. Like that. Is that a thing? Does anybody outside of Britain understand know what I mean when I say the word big issue in that tone of voice? 4 birthdays for Kira sounds great. It sounds like a good film. One of those sort of feel-good sort of Hallmark films. 4 birthdays for Kira. So yeah, I just need... This obviously doesn't apply to you guys. You guys are incessantly bombarded with my nonsense. But this is just like, I tend to, for reasons beyond my understanding, I tend to like to have different things in different places. Instagram is for the comics and it's not for streams, and Twitch is for streams and it's not for the comics, and the Twitter is for some general updates, but not all of them. And it's like, no. That's too many. I don't think it's enough. Yeah, see, Jibby and I are we're on the same page, and this is a democracy, so you've got to have more birthdays. Sorry. Might I suggest, if you have the ability to watch it, because I guess it's on the BBC, so maybe people outside the UK don't, but maybe you do. There's been a new Play That Goes Wrong show thing on the BBC, which has been probably the show that made me laugh the most this year. And I think there's a new series of it coming out. They've at least done a Christmas special. They've done the Nativity. The Nativity Goes Wrong. And it's good. It's... I feel as though they probably didn't have a live studio audience this time, but that's understandable. So maybe they used, not canned laughter, but definitely post-recorded laughter. You missed a little bit because you went to the other end of the house and your phone's internet didn't reach, but you wanted to say there are these Daily Planet Journal type things for nearly every mindset and want. Marvelous. I did want to, one of the things I did want to do this year was I should do this like a kind of Victorian sort of flat cap and covered in soot. I'm a chimney sweep. Extra. Yeah, I wanted to make a bullet journal app, because I feel like a lot of the things that work quite well as an analog system in bullet journals would probably just be easier in a digital form. But a lot of the bullet journal apps out there are just unnecessarily convoluted, and I just want very much the bare basics of the structure that appeals to me in bullet journals, and I couldn't find it, so I felt like making it. But that involves time and another distraction. So that's how I imagine this is. It's Tori, you know. Tories are good. So that's the general improvements that I want to make to my general setup. What I would love is another setup, one computer for personal stuff and one computer for business stuff, but that involves buying another computer, and that's expensive. Tori, I get you. Tori deserves many hugs. They do. Tori is a good. So yeah, general improvements to be made in 2021. Become a hipster, become a Hugh Hefner, become a student again, and become a Victorian chimney sweep. They are the things that I want to happen this year. In terms of specifics, again, feel free to share your things you want to do next year and things you want to things you think were nice about this year as well. The things you are proud of this year. It's all right if you don't have any. This year's been a massive bugger. One computer for leisure stuff, one computer for business stuff, and one computer for Hitman. I have actually uninstalled Hitman now. I'm content with my experience thus far. Although Hitman 2 was on sale recently, and I was very tempted. Yeah. Hopefully I don't have to stream Hitman 3 the year after next. Have to buy another computer to stream. Happy about a little Friday evening. How's this? That was good, yeah. Nice little Friday evening sessions of games and stuff. A fun chill time. Yeah. So, what am I doing here? So I guess there's a rough split of like specific projects I want to do next year. Of like into 3. So like these two are sort of work stuff, and this is personal project, just splitting time roughly. Games, chatting, and cursed content, aka your brand. Yeah. Also cute drawings. Yeah, so what's on my list? Yeah, first third. Work. Actually do some work. Get get money. That was a big down this year. Didn't do that. Should have done that. I have plans for this. You don't really need to know them because they're not aimed at you. And I appreciate, any support you guys give me and all the support on Patreon and all that sort of stuff. But generally speaking, this is a different classification. This is doing things for people rather than making stuff and hoping people pay for it, if that makes sense. So they're two different things. Happy about art improvements and friend hangouts you had. Yeah. Good times. Want to do more Miss hangouts as well. Miss, play games with us. Wonk. Yeah, so this is, as I said before, I made as much of a loss this year, slightly more of a loss this year than I did last year. And I can't keep doing that. It's not that bad. The business made a profit, I just made a loss. So I just need to really properly get my head down, actually get commissions, properly advertise for commissions, not just say, hey Dark, you got anything? Also prepare and give examples of things I can do in commissions. In a sense, I might have it a little better than general because I'm quite happy to do commissions in a lot of different styles. I like imitating styles and stuff, and I know some people, can be, understandably, don't want to do, somebody, what was it, Miss? You had somebody asked you to do a portrait of 2 people and a motorcycle in the style of The Simpsons. It's like, have you ever seen any of Mrs. work in the style of The Simpsons? But there's something to me that's kind of more appealing than somebody saying, draw my character in your style, if that makes sense. It's just something a bit more fun. So I'm kind of open to that sort of thing, which is advantageous for commission work. Next year, you want to be more confident with your art and make a little extra money with it, and also do a stream or 2. Miss streams! Because you want to be more confident with your art. You should be. I was looking through the things from this year, and I found the drawing you did or the little comic you did of you being sad goblin on the floor and M coming along and hugging you, and you have managed to draw M more like M than I have ever drawn M. It's like, I cannot believe how much like M she looks in your drawing, more so than I have ever done. But no, your art's great, and you should be proud of it. It's very good. You completely forgot about that. Yeah, that's stuck in the back of my mind. Yeah, but I'm very much looking forward to Miss Strim's. Miss Art is very good. Yeah, we can, like, it's entirely possible. If anybody wants to, we can do, as part of Weird Stream Times next year, we can do like joint art streams. That's something we could do, like a kind of drawfee sort of thing, where we sort of either swap doing art, or we all do a sort of a drawing challenge simultaneously, and then swap the things we've drawn and something like that. There's also like Draw Pile. We could do that, or whatever the one was, the online one. I saved it somewhere. This streams will be 95% me going, how do I do this? Yeah, that's streaming. That's streaming. Definitely, especially when you start out. I'm kind of pleased I don't have VODs of my original streams, because boy, they would have been rough. I remember how nervous I was on the first day of the Final Fantasy VII draw-through. I was like, this is going to be a disaster, and I was so nervous. Yeah, if you ever find yourself when you're streaming just going, I don't know what's going on, just remember that's how I start every stream. There's cables. Cables. What's happening? Why is the microphone going funny? It happens. And Twitch does not help, that is a good point. Yeah. So I need to spend at least half of my working hours next year either actually doing work, finding work, or getting the necessary skills to do the work that I want to do. I want the first half of the year to be focused on commissions, and the second half of the year to be focused on trying to find freelance work. Preferably illustrations. I like to do illustrations for books, so like kids' books would be nice. That's a style I want to sort of get into. Or illustration work for games, board games, what have you. We'll see. I also quite like doing design work as well, like logos and stuff. So we'll see. That's just a big old chunk. This needs to be as important as anything else, and I forgot to do any of it this year. So, because my plans for this year also involved a lot of merchandise and attending cons, and that didn't happen. So, yeah, big old chunk of time need to be spent doing that. Then there's like personal business. Which is the sort of halfway point. Things which probably should be considered personal stuff, but also has the possibility of making some money somewhere down the line. So for October, obviously, that's still going. Eventually, that'll be a book that I could sell. I'd like to do other things with it. I'd like the idea of trying to make like a little October like plush or something, because I feel like it's already got stitches. Like the seam marks are there. And I know there wouldn't be like a big market for that, obviously, but I can make them on demand, so. I always do the hair too big first time. This is a little tip for October. Always do the hair too big and then bring it back in. Plush making is a thing that I would like to get into. One of the things I've noticed this year is I shouldn't expect to be able to do a drawing based side project while I'm also doing a lot of drawing for work. So maybe focus on some other things like, you know, plushes or programming or whatever. Something, video making. Something that doesn't involve you having to draw. Yeah, so more October. This other eye is always so weird. Trying to get it to look in the right direction. That's better. They're always slightly worried. I've drawn worse pictures of October. Let's go with that. Anywho, you get the idea. So October and Co. That's still going. We're over halfway through, actually. The aim is to do 100 comics, and I've written 95, so we're pretty much there. But I also want to make sure that the last lot are as good as they can be, because there's been some dead weight in the early ones, looking back. An October book is halfway there to a children's book. Almost, yeah. But I know something else that's even more halfway, and we'll get to that. How can you be even more halfway? There's like a Zeno's paradox sort of thing. Yeah, October, that's the thing. What else? Patreon. Patreon's a thing. I get paid for that. You guys pay me very nicely, by which I mean kindly. And it's a thing I have to keep telling myself. I shouldn't use that as a reliable source of income, because I mean, for a start, it's rude to expect other people to pay my way without them really having a say in what it is they get in return. I don't know. I'm going to do videos, so I'll draw PD. Why not? I haven't drawn PD for a while. Yeah, so doing videos. I have a bunch of ideas for videos. I just came up with another one today. Some art videos, bunch of sort of music-based ones, and chatty ones. I have some fun ideas, and I hope you like them, because I like them. That was a bit weird. This is knockoff PD. Yeah, it looks pretty wrong. Don't worry about it. You're also going to get to see a lot of the other projects that I'm going to be talking about a little bit in advance. I might not tell you what they are because I like my surprises, but you'll get to see them bits and bobs, assets and all that. Why does this look so much unlike PD? Oh, that's another thing I want to do next year. Actually get ready for events to, like, you know, make Christmas cards and get things ready for people's birthdays and things. Plan ahead for stuff. That would be nice. Forgot about that. Should put that on my list, really. Also, clear out my desktop, because I still had the notes for this stream last year on my desktop. So I got to look through those, actually. There was a couple of things on there that were fun. I've completely forgot about this idea. I had almost like a 95% on of the things on this list I didn't do, but one of them was interesting, which was draw rooms, which I guess is similar to the idea I just said about us all being on the stream drawing. But the idea was sort of like a quilting circle sort of thing, where people just bring whatever it is they're doing, they're drawing or writing or crocheting or whatever it is they're doing, and we all just hang out in a chat, and we can share, you know, screens or webcams or whatever if you want to. And just like, rather than it being a central stream like this, it's just a sort of a big sort of round. It's just a thing that where you can be social while working on stuff. That's the idea. and I completely forgot about that. So I think that might be quite nice. Again, this is why it's good to write stuff down, because you forget. Human brain, not great. Yeah, so there's October and Patreon, and that kind of, I guess that's mainly it. There's some merchandise and stuff as well. But these are the sort of two main personal business things. There are other things that I want to work on that might make a bit of money eventually, but I can't really rely on it. October's good for getting eyes on my stuff, at least on Instagram anyway. Twitter doesn't seem to give a damn about October and Company, it seems. But it goes down all right on Instagram, and that gets people looking at my stuff. And when I start advertising that I have other things, maybe it'll go somewhere. Who knows? But I could also turn it into a book at the end and sell it. So, yeah, and obviously Patreon. Patreon's an ongoing thing. I have lots of fun things for you guys at Patreon, and Patreon people obviously will see everything early, because you're nice and generous. That's that basically. And now for the big block of stuff, which is always far too big for its own boots. Personal projects, which has almost no similarity to last year's personal projects, because I'm like that. But these are the things to do in spare time, outside of working hours, no expectation of monetary return, but just generally something I want to work on. And I want to try and do things, at most working on two things at once so that you know, if you feel like, oh, I don't really want to draw today, you have something else that isn't drawing, or, you know, oh, I don't want to do music today, you've got something else that isn't music. But generally speaking, it would be nice to have just one thing working at a time. But yeah, these things happen. We'll start with the ones that I can't really say anything about because I like surprises. Lumenwood. You already know a little bit about this because I've drawn this. This was what the animals were for when I did that stream about drawing animals. He's also got a flat cap. I've forgotten how to draw him already. Animals. Strictly speaking, the project doesn't actually involve animals per se. This is something very different from anything I've done before, and as a consequence, I have no idea whether it'll succeed. But it's a combination of writing and drawing and stuff, and also incorporates elements of creativity outside of myself. Encouraging other people to get creative and have a good time. So we'll see how that goes. This is something I want to work on early on in the year. Yeah. We'll see. I hope people sort of pick up on this, or yeah, because it doesn't really require an awful lot of effort from me, but maybe it does from whoever else wants to get involved. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I don't know why he's wearing a shirt. Everyone's wearing a shirt. There we go. If you put crisscrosses on it, it looks medieval. Yeah, Lumenwood. Can't talk much about it. But it's a thing. Next. Mountains. Also can't talk much about this. I have mentioned the general idea for this, which is I want to do an event next year. I'm thinking in like March or April, where there's like a central creative project that anybody can come and contribute to. So if you want to draw, if you want to write, if you want to make music, it's just there. I'll set up a website and everybody's contributions can go on there, and I'll stream for like a week just working on it and looking at other people's stuff. I just want to do this sort of big collaborative thing where everybody's welcome, anybody can contribute as much or as little as they want. And just have a big like thing. I want to do a thing. Here's some mountains. I can't really say much about what it is. We'll have a go. It's generally it's going to be something like something akin to the choose your own adventure draw throughs that we've done, but without me being a central component, if that makes sense. So yeah, get your fantasy drawing hats on, or writing, or whatever you want. I have a general idea that should work to allow a lot of people to be creative in different ways. So yeah, again, can't really talk much about that. Hopefully, relatively early next year. That can be a fun time. Avonvale. I will get to things I can actually talk about. I guess I could talk about Avonvale for a bit. So Avonvale is the thing... I mentioned earlier how... Everyone has a hat. I mentioned earlier how... There was a point in the year where I was pretty bad mentally. I was going through a bit of a rough patch, and I wanted something I could use to help. And part of it was just disillusionment with the world, and I just wanted to be somewhere else for a while. So what I did is I came up with a new one, which sounds a bit weird when you say it like that. But the I was playing. I mentioned this on stream. I think I was playing Final Fantasy IX, and I just absolutely fell in love with the world of Final Fantasy IX, and like the cities and the people and the NPCs and just sort of everything about that. And it just seemed like such a nice place to be. And I was so disillusioned with the real world that I just desperately wanted to be there. And there wasn't enough of it because the game ends. So I decided to make my own city called Avonvale, and a bunch of characters and stories and stuff. And this was purely a personal project. Part of the project was to not tell anyone else about it until I was ready. And not force myself to make anything about it either. It was all supposed to be, purely for personal escapism and improvement. But now I think I understand what it is enough to start sort of putting stuff out there. And it's the closest to a children's book I can think of. It's got that kind of vibe to it. I've already shown off some of the art for it. So this was Pero, one of the characters. Pero and Mira, father and daughter, and they go around the city and they look at things. Yeah, I'm looking forward to showing people this, because if it gives anybody else the escapism that it gave me this year, and the happiness that it gave me, then it'll be worth it. Yeah, and that's probably why I keep using this art, because hang on, this is the art that I used. I put it on my summary of this year art thing because it's not the best art I've made, but it just makes me smile because it reminds me of what this is. Yeah, there they are. There's Para and Mira. I was trying to sort of emulate the style of the Final Fantasy IX concept art because it's very nice. I kind of ended up making it something slightly different, but I like it, so there we go. Anyway, more about that hopefully next year. It won't be a fixed thing because, again, I'm not going to make myself make anything. It's going to be a whenever. But I have some nice stories to tell. It's a very pleasant thing. Also, I can do whatever I want with it because the idea behind it is it's a place I want to be. So anything I like can be in there. So the outliers are already in there. They crop up everywhere. They run a pub called the Inlier. And I also want to put some of the October characters in there as well. Try and draw them in that style. But yeah, it's a whole bunch of new characters, a bunch of little stories and tales about this city and how it works and its history and the people in it. Yeah, it's just a little cozy storybook kind of feel. I need some music. Hollow Knight? Hollow Knight's always a good bet, isn't it? Yeah, Avonvale. More about that in the future. There was another one I think that I can't really talk about. Oh yeah, 16. What can I say about 16? This is a stream thing. This is something I want to try out next year. Probably quite early next year, actually. And it's a different sort of stream. It's, I guess, most akin to the draw-throughs, but it's a lot more collaborative. or it can be a lot more collaborative. I'm not going to assume anybody wants to get involved in any of this stuff, but if you do, hey, bonus, and everyone can have a good time. But yeah, this is a sort of collaborative thing. I literally have nothing I can draw, I guess. I guess I could like of how many collaborative. I want to do things with people. I'm pretty sure I said this last year, but this year, yeah, collaborative. And that's. I was thinking about streaming, right? And I towards the end of this year, I started watching more. I started trying to watch more streamers, than I usually frequent, and I was kind of just getting tired of streams that were just somebody basically recording footage for a video, you know? They were just getting on with what they're getting on with, and then there was just a rabble of people screaming in the chat. Just there's no connection between those two things at all. And it's like, is there a point to this? And that's the thing that I've always liked about streaming, is the interaction, the interactive element, and having. I mean, I know technically it's not, you know, it's not a level playing field because. You know, I'm the one speaking into a microphone and you guys are tapping in the chat, but, you know, when it's a chibi stream or a dark stream, it's the other way around. So, but I like it when it's as close to a level playing field as possible. I like when, you know, you guys say something and I reply, and then you reply to that, and then there's an actual conversation happening. You can't do that with a video. You can't do that with a Twitter post or an Instagram post. Streaming has that special. And, yeah, so the social element of streaming, I think, is very underplayed, and I want to do more of it. And you guys obviously make it worth wanting more of. So it's you know, I'm lucky to have that. I know that. Yeah. So more of that in 16. 16 is another creative thing. It's quite, you know, but you can sort of submit. It doesn't have to be, you know, drawings and all that. Similar in a way to Mountains, but not an event, I guess. Yeah, that's the end of the things that I can't talk about. Yay! I can now start talking about things. Funk. This bloody thing. Thunk is the album that I have had sitting on my computer that I have needed to record for 3 years. I've decided that screw it, I'm just going to do it a song at a time, and I'm going to release it a song at a time. Yeah, I hope you like it, because I like it. It's been 3 years and I still listen to it, so that's a good sign. What can I draw for Thunk? I want to do art for the art. So the album art was originally a manipulated photograph, but it's been so long I think I can actually probably paint it in an interesting way. And it was inspired. Anyone ever played the game Off? Also, I hate drawing guitars. Drawing guitars is a bloody nightmare. I've discovered this. Crispy music, yeah, stuff. There's some. It's a lot more fun, I think, than the last album. It's the wrong way around. A lot more. There's a reason it's called Thunk. There's a lot more rhythmic, sort of strong rhythm going on. Not necessarily like, you know, a thumping like dance rhythm, but just like the instruments actually playing the same rhythm. If you go back and listen to Only the Good from the last album, that was the song that made me think that my next stuff should have more of a focus on rhythm, because like the beginning of that song is just 4 instruments doing whatever the hell they want to do, and they're not listening to each other at all. You know of Off, haven't played it, but have seen an LP of it. Cool. Yeah, I knew what I wanted the front cover of the album to be, given the subject matter of. Funk has a double meaning as well. It's not just the rhythm of the music. It was the euphemism I gave to depression when I had it, because I didn't know it was depression, so I called it thunk. Or the miasma as well, because it's just a brain fog. It was a weird thing. Bloody Nightmare of a whole 2 seconds. Yeah, so I was never quite sure how to sort of do this, but one of the things I always liked from Off was the visualization of this sort of person in a suit just sort of exploding into smoke. And that felt right as a cover idea, so I wanted to try and paint that at some point. Digitally paint, not actually paint. I don't know how to paint. Hats off to people who can paint. Hats off to Christy and Miss and all of that, people who actually know how to use paints. So yeah, I say it's a generally more upbeat album, and then immediately talk about how I go into depression. So, but it is. There's a weird what. Take paint, mash it into paper. Yeah, but actually make it look like things? That's tricky. Like, clouds make it look so easy. They're just puffs of smoke and they look like things all the time. Yeah, so that's the thing. My favorite, one of the songs I'm sort of most looking forward to, and at the same time least looking forward to showing, is a song called Enough Time, because to me it's hilarious, but it can definitely not come across as hilarious, because the songs are all about, hey, guess what? One day, we're all gonna die. But it's this kind of jaunty sort of, I don't know, it's almost like a madness sort of song. And it's just like right up front, the opening line. It was originally called Stoic's Song. That should give you an idea as to what it is, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But there's also some silly stuff as well, because I like silly stuff. Clouds are secret artists, yeah. Well, there are artists among the clouds. There are artists among all sorts of people. So yeah, Thunk, coming soon, TM. At least some songs from it. I would like to get at least half of the songs recorded next year. I'm going to start with Escape the Room, because that's less than 3 minutes long. It's just simple instruments. Should be easy. And I use it as a warm-up song for streams, actually. I get my ukulele and just play it and sing it. So I already know how to do it properly. Okay, next. This should be an obvious one, and it's always going to be on my list. It will never not be on my list. Outliers. Please, for the love of all that is unholy, let me actually finish something to do with the Outliers. Yeah. This year I did 2.5 pages of a 22-page story for them. They will appear. I want to do the long stories, obviously, but I feel like I just also want to draw them more, just in general, just doing stuff. I keep seeing all these artists who draw their OCs, and that's all they ever post is just pictures of their OCs, and I think, why don't I just do that? People seem to like that. Like, it's not like people are going to get annoyed at it. I did do 2 comics with the Outliers this year, so that's about on par for last year as well. And I did them in different styles as well. I never did do the Among Us one, did I? I wrote it, but I never did it. So yeah, Outliers. Something. Maybe I'll finish the Dishonored one, maybe I'll do something else. Who knows? I still want to do the Stanley Parable one as well, so that should be fun. Mal's always so happy to be here. He's never happy to be anywhere. If he's sober, he's not having it. Guess the character. Stoic in a wig. I could draw Stoic in a wig, why not? You love the outliers in Bendy and the Barbarized U styles. They're very different styles, it turns out. It's like a rainbow clown wig. Stoic could make a really good 47. It's theoretically easy to spot it, unless it's like, because one of the things I quite like about the Outliers is that nobody ever mentions anything strange about these characters. No one really, you know, questions why M can't speak, or why Malachi wears the clothes he wears, or why Stoic has a mask. It's just a thing, and people just accept it, you know. So if it was like that in Hitman, I guess it's similar to why, you know, no one questions why 47 has a barcode on the back of his head. So, you know, why should they? Love characters in different styles, that's why your October project is what it is. Yeah. Drawing in different styles is fun, I find. Obviously, depends on your taste. I don't want to, yeah, but I want to draw these characters. I've drawn me enough for that to contribute to Rufus, so it'll be fine. Yeah, I just want to draw these characters just interacting and use them as practice for drawing in different poses and perspectives. I want to draw them more. I miss them. And yeah, I want to do the long stories. I've got like 6 30-page stories for them, but you know, if I'm used to drawing them, maybe that'll go faster. So yeah, so there's that. Next up, I've already talked about this in the Discord, Moida. Whether or not this will ever be finished, per se, I don't know, but I'm kind of enjoying the idea of how this is going to play out. So Moida is the randomly generated murder mystery game that I'm working on. It's the working title. You need to draw Atlas more next year, you drew him like twice. Yeah, but they were good. They were good twice. I drew the Outliers twice. Yeah, and I'm interested in where this goes. It's at the moment it's just text, but this is my second attempt at trying to make it, and I tried to make it in a way that you can actually play it first, which is helpful. And I've set it up in such a way that I can already just make loads of games if I wanted to without doing any programming. I've got it to the point where there's now a markup language I've invented where you can just write the game in a text document and make your own case, and it doesn't even have to be randomly generated. It could be a specific case with maybe a couple of randomly generated elements. You can specify how random it should be, and I just feel like I've accidentally stumbled on an interesting engine for a murder mystery game. I was trying to make it randomly generated, but it might just work in general. I don't know. I feel like this is a fun programming thing for me to focus on, I think, and also writing as well. I like the idea of replicating actual murder mystery stories in this engine, because theoretically you just can. You know, stick Murder on the Orient Express in there, stick Mousetrap in there, why not? Yeah, so that doesn't mean anything at the moment, but it's a thing. Other programming things are available, by which I mean black and green. You may or may not know, a while ago, what am I going to draw for? I'll draw a cactus. A while ago I made some games called the Black and Colour games. There was a Black and Red, which was the first one, which was a flash game, flash point and click game. There's a little cactus. Made entirely from photographs of my bedroom back in the old house that I used to live in. And it was kind of surreal. You could do weird things with photographs, it turns out. And it was good. I liked it. I was very pleased with it. It's like my second game, and I really liked it. And then I made a follow-up, Black and Orange. The idea of the game is that the name of the game is because everything's monochrome except for one color. And Black and Orange wasn't very good. But then, a few years later, I've moved house, I've learned Unity, and I decided, hey, why don't I try and make a point-and-click template in Unity, where I can quickly make a game without doing much programming. So I did that. I then rebuilt Black and Red and Black and Orange, and they're up on my itch.io if you want to play them. They're free. Black and Red's the only good one. But then I made Black and Yellow. Import the entire Murder, She Wrote series into the engine. You can do that. And you can have your own randomly generated phrases and descriptions and adjectives specifically for Murder, She Wrote. Due to the way the system works, you can have a tag of Murder, She Wrote that is just explicit references to the show, and they will only appear in those stories. Anyway, enough of that. I'm really excited about the engine I've made. So anyway, I made a Black and Yellow. It was good. It was on par with Black and Red and a little bit more interesting. And I want to make another one. I want to make another one, and I want to make one that's just a bit more, because my head's still stuck in, like, you know, the early 2000s Flash era of point and click games, and I feel like games have come a long way. UI's come a long way. Animation, the ability for anything to do anything has come a long way. Why can't these games? And so I've decided I want to make a slightly new template, which is just a little bit better, a little bit more polished and more interesting, and make a new game, Black and Green. I imagine it will be plant heavy, given that green is the only color that's going to appear in it. But yeah. And I like the idea also of kind of working on this on stream, because there's going to be a lot of visual elements, a lot of photo editing and things like that, but also just trying to work out fun puzzles that you can do with green stuff. I have an itch.io. I do. It's literally Black and Red, Black and Orange, and Black and Yellow at the moment. But I intend to have more things there at some point. So yeah, I have a bunch of ideas for puzzles you can do. I want a green screen to be involved somehow, and then hopefully maybe you can have that to be involve multiple locations. Because these games, they use photographs, but they don't use the things in the photographs in the way you might expect, which is what I like about them. You know, there was a puzzle in the first one where you get a plectrum, and there's a guitar, and you're like, oh, you used the plectrum on the guitar for some reason. That makes sense. And you use the plectrum on the guitar, and obviously what happens then is that a hand comes out of the guitar, grabs the plectrum, and then throws a pine cone at you. Obviously. So it's stuff like that I like, where it's like, the actions of the player are obvious, but the outcome of the action isn't. Black and Orange did not understand that, and the actions of the player are nonsensical. And as a consequence, you can't solve the puzzles. So, good luck if you want to play that one. Obviously, yeah, there's a hand that comes out of a hole in every game. That's the only recurring character. Well, no, in the second one it's a tentacle. But anyway, you get a hole as an item in the second one. That was the one thing I actually really liked from that game. You pick up a hole and use it. Yeah, stuff like that. I like being creative in weird puzzly ways. Yeah, Black and Green. I think that might be fun to work on and do stuff on stream. Black and Yellow literally took 7 days from start to finish, from sort of conception to completion. And that includes taking all the photographs, editing all the photographs, sticking it all into Unity and getting it all working. So yeah, that's the thing. Instrumental music. Now, as you may know, oh, this is what I wrote last time, wasn't it? As you may know, I keep making projects to do with instrumental music and then never finishing them. Like the Final Fantasy VIII one, where I said I'd replace all the music from Final Fantasy VIII, and so far I've done 4. Or the Forest of Doom one, where I said I'll do music for the Forest of Doom, and I did 2 tracks. or the new the unofficial soundtrack that I was going to make for Bloodborne, and I made like half a track for that. I keep thinking to myself, I want to make more instrumental music, so let's make a project to make instrumental music. And I've come to the conclusion that's a terrible idea. What I should just do is make instrumental music for whatever. Just whatever I'm in make a samba, make a tango, make a hip hop backing track, make a blues thing, make a chiptune. Why not? Just make whatever. And part of my focus of this is I would like, if I'm still streaming at the end of next year, which I hope to be, I would like all of the music in my streams to be made by me. Or at least have permission for them from other people, like Adrian von Ziegler. And Toby Fox's stuff is, he lets people use his music, so... But yeah, I'd like to get a body of instrumental music that's just, you know, also that other people can use. Like if you want to use the music as well, that's fine. Go all Kevin MacLeod and put all my music up for anyone to use. So yeah, I just want to do more instrumental music just for the sake of instrumental music. Also because I've been listening to a lot of Lemon Demon recently. And Neil Cicierega really comes across as the sort of person who just loves experimenting in different sorts of music and ends up writing songs because he wrote a bit of music he liked. And as a consequence, his songs are just of every genre that you could possibly imagine. And it's like, I want to do that. Why haven't I done that? I used to do that when I was younger. Why don't I do that now? Yeah, learn how to draw hands, that's on the list as well. So yeah, I keep making huge projects and going, oh, I can do that, that'll be a good way to get me to write music, and then I don't write anything. So how about let's not do that, and let's just actually write stuff. Call me when you figure out how to draw hands. You may be waiting by the phone for a while. And last thing on the list. Streams. Different types of streams. More collaborations. More streaming with other people. More interactive stuff, interactive elements. Just trying new things. Streaming in 2021 is going to be a bit more interesting, hopefully. Might also start streaming more in the week, during like mornings or afternoons if I've just got some work that I've got to get on with and I'm like, I could stream this. Might do that. Yeah, good streams. Interesting streams. Hope people enjoy the streams. I've already mentioned a couple of the ideas that I want to do for streams. But yeah, interesting stream ideas. Hopefully people do enjoy them. If not, we can always go back to our tried and trusted methods. Yeah, basically, if you want a general, you know, couple of minutes, 30-second summary of what I want to do next year, it's everything I didn't do this year that I think I probably should have done this year. This year has been stagnation. I want next year to be movement. That's absolutely what my thing looks like. So yeah, doing stuff with people, interacting, streaming with others, streaming on collaborative things. Hug the stream. I want to get into some type of craft this year. You've been looking into embroidery and knitting sets and such for the past few months, and you honestly just need to do it. I have been considering doing something like, you know, making little plushes or crochet or something. I want to make little physical things that I can sort of, you know, make for people and give as presents and all that. So yeah, we can share notes. Again, the stream. Want to knit a blanket this year? Ooh. For you to add to your pile of blankets. Wonderful. You can never have too many blankets. Oh, my mum knitted me a blanket this year. Got it for my birthday. Speaking of knitting, you could use your dot camp crochet stuff with the craft circle idea. Yeah. You have 5 on your bed and you're wrapped up in one at the moment. Excellent. I don't have blankets. I am wearing a cardigan right now, so I guess that's sort of like a mobile blanket. Yeah, that's literally all I had written down. So, yeah. Things. As you can see, personal projects is always bigger than everything else. Because I always have too many things I want to... I've already jettisoned some ideas, like I wanted to do white coats. I'm not going to have time to do that. I wanted to do other games. I wanted to work on the ICO. I wanted to work on... that plant game idea, and I sort of realised that's probably not really worth it. Yeah, I'm. This is scaled back, and it's still too much, and I know it's too much. Blanket with sleeves, it's like a poncho, isn't it? I'll take it. Yeah. So yeah, the general gist of it is, if I'm just a little bit more efficient with my time, and by that I don't mean working constantly, I mean not getting distracted by things that I shouldn't get distracted by, I can get a lot more done next year than I did this year. But more importantly, I need to do the right things this year. Because the right things next year, because this year I was basically just doing the same things over and over again and expecting something to go somewhere, or just trying to ignore the fact that it wasn't. Yeah, so trying to learn new things, trying different things, actually trying to make this work as something viable for employment. I'm in an extraordinarily lucky position. I need to say this because I know this. and I don't say it enough. I am in such a lucky position to be trying this. And to be able to try this. And I know I saved up for this. Like, I wasn't, you know, just handed a bunch of money and went, you do whatever you want. I did, you know, I worked for this, but I had the opportunity to save for this, which is in and of itself is a lucky thing. And I really want to make it work. But at some point I do have to realize that if it doesn't, I just have to do something else. So next year is basically the time to see whether or not it works. And yeah, I need to actually take responsibility for that. Responsibility, I think that's the word. Last year was a year of no responsibility, and it should have been. It's one of those things you find that out at some point in your life, and you're like, it turns out working hard is not enough. You have to be working hard on the right things. Hard work does not pay. The correct hard work pays. Yeah. And I would like to try my absolute best to try and make sure that the hard work that I end up having to do is still the hard work that makes people happy. That's the focus, is trying to make people happy. Because I'm in a lucky position. Let's try and help people who aren't. You know? If all else fails, I become a teacher. But not that that's a, you know, last ditch attempt. I actually like teaching. That is my backup, as I enjoy teaching. Yeah, so, or maybe programming. I like programming as well. Teaching programming. Yeah. That's basically all I had for this year. And that's all the effort I'm going to give this year. So, what's everybody else? Any other plans? Any other things that people are looking forward to? Or things people are looking forward to getting rid of from this year? That's another thing. Rock! Yay! Also, if anybody wants to collaborate with me on any of these things, do let me know. I know I've said, you know, so things like mountains is going to be a big collaborative thing, and 16 is as well. Hopefully actually get your bachelor. There's a joke in there about finding a man, but yeah. Yeah. Looking forward to that. Chip doing a good. But yeah, that was another thing I was going to do last year. I completely forgot about. Well, I didn't completely forget about. All of the plans I had set up for that collapsed. But I wanted to see whether or not anyone would be interested in, like, me. Anyone would be interested in joint writing songs, particularly people who have had no prior experience songwriting. I was just interested in that. I was interested in trying to be like the musical sort of facility to allow people who might be interested in writing songs but have no experience of it to write a song. Next semester should be less crazy on the prep side, at least, so more leisure and friend time. Yeah, good times. And you've just started Hades, so you've also got that to look forward to. I hear that's excellent. You died a lot. I haven't seen the VOD yet. I've got to get around to that. You can bang the tambourine pretty good. Well, that's the idea. The idea is that you can bring as much or as little musical elements as possible. You can bring as much or as little lyric writing as possible. It's just because I can write songs in general. Whether or not I'm good is a different matter. But I know enough to be able to do it. So I wanted to see whether or not there was anyone who doesn't have the experience or yet have the skills but wants to try it, and then I can essentially be the extension, you know, the exoskeleton that allows them to add the music or the melodies or whatever, the harmonies, and put it all together. Other than actually taking care of your mental health for once, yay! Happy Chib. You just want to try new stuff next year. Just been in this loop of doing the same things and want to branch out. That's almost exactly the same with me this year. again, the phrase of treading water in a lake that's slowly emptying. That's been my year. Just want to try new things. Don't overwork. don't want another 2018, 2019 again. Yeah, those years were overwork. This year was underwork. Turns out. I'll find a balance at some point, I'm sure. Yeah, also just making more like stuff. And by stuff I mean things that don't necessarily need a structure. I mentioned this with the Outliers. There's just not everything needs a project. And with the instrumental music as well. Not everything needs to be part of a long narrative. Not everything needs to be part of a big final project. I can just draw a thing. And, you know, it's odd. I have this sort of weird dichotomy in my head of like, oh no, I can't do things out of what I normally do, because then, you know, people will lose interest in my stuff if I start doing things that are different. And oh no, social media numbers will go down. Heaven forfend. But if you look at any of the people I follow online who make art, and they post just random stuff all the time, and people love it. If anything, people get annoyed that they keep posting pages from the things they're working on or whatever. Like, I don't know. Here's an interesting thing. I tend not to get too obsessed with numbers. Certainly not as much as I used to. But one of the things I have noticed this year is that on Twitter, I think all year, I think I'm right in saying this has been true all year, my Twitter followers have been between 940 and 960. All year. People have left, people have come. It's gone up, it's gone down. It's constantly fluctuating, but it has never gone below 940 and it's never gone above 960. And that's weird, isn't it? That's just really weird. Like, and like, you also have that weird social media phenomenon of like 960 people are looking at your stuff and 2 people liked the thing you posted. I don't know. It's just, social media is weird. Don't pay attention to numbers. They're not important. What's important is the actual effect of what you post on. So if you make one person happy, making one person happy with a post is more important than making 900 people disinterested. I hit carrying capacity, yes. Soon it's going to overflow. Now I'm going to go round to minus 960. Which is also why you said you wanted to get into crafting. It's new, and also you think it'd be a satisfying thing to do with an actual physical result. That is a thing. Having an actual physical thing in front of you where you're like, I made this, is a very satisfying thing. The digital age doesn't quite have that satisfaction. As convenient as it may be. Kids these days and their iPads. Yeah. Some artists on Twitter have been sharing the engagements for their tweets, and it's really like that. I've been seeing thousands and liked by 7, yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, some people just... Like me, I've been on Twitter since 2009. And when I started on Twitter, there wasn't a like button. It was a favourite button. And so I used it to keep track of my favourite tweets. And you keep the list relatively short because you want to be the ones that you want to really keep track of. So when it turned into like, I just carried on using it like a favourite. And... sort of almost like a playlist sort of thing, you know. Just keep a list of these tweets. So I'm still quite reticent to use the like button because I still think of it as a favourites, and I'm getting out of that. This year has been much better for me, you know, seeing a thing by a friend that I like and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, press the like. Show them I like it. Still want to get better at actually posting replies. That would be nice. Commenting on people's work and saying, oh, that's a good thing. Because I always have that thing of, if what you're going to say isn't original, it's not worth saying. And that's absolutely not true. But I still have that voice in my head that makes me terrible in conversation. You have to be bringing something new to this and saying it in an original way. Otherwise, there's no point. You haven't been on Twitter for that long and you use the like button like that as well. Yeah, it's... Some people are just like, you know, blast, they see a thing that vaguely, you know, that their eyes don't immediately skim over, they'll click the like button, you know? And then there are some people who will like 3 things a year. So it is definitely down to personal preference, but it is interesting that there's it's pretty consistent with October and Company. That was the first time I noticed it. Because I mean, a lot of people are probably following me for Secret Sleepover Society or Beyond the Foggate or whatever, and they've just forgotten they're following me. And October and Company gets, 20 likes or whatever. And it's just like, why? So this 900 number just doesn't mean anything now. It's like, because even with that distribution of people who do like things and people who don't like things, as in the active verb like rather than the passive, even with that proportion ought to be higher. So evidently there are just people who are disinterested in this. But I also have that thing in my mind of like, if you're not interested in a thing, why are you following it? I don't know. You've been getting better at retweeting stuff for people. Yeah, that's another thing. I don't want to clutter up my timeline. It's that annoying precious sort of thing. It's, it's my stuff. I don't want to flood it with other people's things. And like, honestly, you've been the gateway for that. Because you making things about, the draw-throughs and fan art and stuff like that. Like, that's the sort of retweet. The thing I can retweet from other people because it's connected to my stuff, but it's also a thing that I can share with other people. It's, oh, hey, look, a friend made this. I do want to do that more, but about things that have nothing to do with my stuff. I need to get a lot less precious about, Twitter, my Twitter feed and all that sort of thing. I was thinking about this today, actually, the weird social imbalance of social media. How, like, Discord to me is like the best of all worlds, because aside from like moderators, and you can install hierarchies, I'm not really a huge fan of that, but aside from that, Discord feels like meeting up in a coffee shop with a bunch of people. It's kind of like neutral ground, and you can all chat whenever you want. You can move over to a different conversation if you like, and all sorts of things. Twitter feels like there are a bunch of people standing on plinths with megaphones. And like, you can reply to what they're saying, but they're surrounded by a crowd of people who are all listening to what they're saying. And if you try and reply, they'll hear that, and you're clearly outnumbered here. Everyone has their own plinth, and you have to go to their plinth if you want to say something. Or you can shout from your plinth, and it just basically becomes turf warfare at that point. And it just doesn't feel like a balanced social situation at all. And like, Facebook's worse, because Facebook's like being invited to a dinner party and going around somebody's house and then having to talk to them while they're surrounded by their entire family. It's like, that's not a fair conversation either. Instagram's barely a conversation. Instagram's just posting nice pictures. That's halls of residence. Everyone's got a bulletin board on their dormitory door or whatever, and they're just sticking pictures up, and people can huddle around and have a bit of a conversation, but it rarely happens. And their family is all racist uncles. Yeah, exactly. So that's why, to me, Discord is like the most social of the social media, as it were, even though it's the most closed off, because it just feels more like an actual conversation. So I'm starting to see like my Twitter and Instagram and whatever as just much less of a this is my space sort of thing, and more of a kind of, let's make it more shared and integrated, and yeah, trying to make it more social rather than more territorial. Fingers crossed I can do that next year. That would be nice. Get to retweet good friend art and, try and work out how to share other people's Instagram stuff and the Instagram stories. I still don't know how you do that. Miss, how do you do that? You showed me how to use stories in general, but I still don't know how to repost other people's stuff. I don't know. I'm bad at tech. That was on my list of things to do in 2020. It was, hang on, let me see. It was things to learn. Explore social media options, brackets, Instagram stories. So that was a thing I did. Half. You show me how. Thank you very much, Miss Senpai. I will learn from you. Didn't Twitter introduce a thing like that? I'm bad at tech, makes his own markup language. Yeah, but there's a difference between making your own markup language and learning someone else's. Fleets. Oh, that what they were called. I don't actually go on Twitter. That's the thing. I use TweetDeck, which is... I've been using TweetDeck for like 10 years. But it means I just don't have to see Twitter. And I can absolutely curate everything I see, which is great. Because Twitter's awful. If I'm only seeing the things I follow, and the things I follow are generally nice. Yeah. I'm being generous when I call it a markup language, by the way. It's not... Well, I guess it is kind of a markup language. I wanted to learn Ink as well. Ink is a... Well, I mean that artistically as well. It would be nice to be able to ink things with actual ink. But there's a markup language called Ink, which is used for choose-your-own adventure games. It was used for that game about... what was that game? It's not like an archaeology language thing. Narrative story. Twitter keeps giving you ads for very inappropriate comics. Really? Wait, where are the ads? I don't know. Oh, they're like sponsored tweets sort of thing. Appear in your timeline or whatever. You get very good at noticing where things say sponsored and you just flick past them, I think. You just don't get timeline. Ah, okay. That's the other thing. I wonder how many people actually have the chronological timeline as opposed to the Twitter algorithm curated one. Because I imagine, you know, there's a lot of people out there who follow like 1,000 people, and you can't keep track of all that. That was the other thing. I don't follow anyone on Twitter because I wanted to keep track of everything that everyone I'm following does. So maybe that's something else I should get less precious about and start just supporting other people by following them. Yeah. I want to integrate other people more into my world. Stop being so closed off. You're scrolling and then you think you see good art, but note it's actually an ad for a comic about a son falling in love being horny over his stepmom. Twitter, what are you doing? You use Chrono, you use lists to keep track of different groups more directly. Oh, okay. I don't know what Chrono is, let's have a gander. This is stream-worthy, right? This is still art? Should I change this to just chatting? Or... I always called this just chatting, but I thought, nah, I better doodle. Oh yeah, Chrono's just gonna give me images of Chrono Trigger. Luxury watches. Oh, chronological. Oh, I thought you meant like an app. Okay, that makes sense. Look, I'm not good with tech. Chrono sounds like an app for Twitter, doesn't it? Keep track of all your different groups of, yeah. You use chronological timelines and you use lists to keep track of different groups more effectively. Okay, that's, yeah. I can read that sentence correctly now. I know anything about what's happening because my brain apparently is allergic to context. Yeah. Sorry, hang on, this is annoying me. There we go. It fits in now with the rest of them. You hit the best first, those always put the tweets people are getting very angry about. Exactly, yeah. It's because that's what Twitter runs on. Twitter makes money out of people constantly scrolling and replying and doing stuff because it's retention. What is profitable is not necessarily what is beneficial. That's why these things always go this way. Quick question. Why has Frame Man literally done nothing this stream? My internet's been playing up all day. Frame Man, I've dropped no frames. Granted, I haven't done much, but it's weird. I just thought I'd mention that. Yeah, social media thrives on anger, which is why I try and stay away from it. And why I like Discord, because by being able to curate exactly who is in an area, not necessarily who's in a conversation, but who's in an area, you can generally, filter out people who are just unnecessarily assholes. Frame Man's having a day off. He needs to prepare for next year. Oh, good. Good for you. Self-care for Frame Man. He knows it's my last stream of the year. He knows it's the stream that it doesn't matter whether or not frames drop. So he's like, oh, we'll let this one off then. Oh dear. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully, yeah, I'm hoping next year. Well, I mean, from a business standpoint, I'm hoping next year actually works. Because if it doesn't, I have to stop doing this. And I want to make, again, I just want to absolutely double check, make that clear. I don't mean that at all from the perspective of donations or commissions from you guys or Patreon or anything like that. I'm talking purely in terms of finding work. You guys are far too generous as it is, and yeah, I know what some of you are like. That said, there was a bit of confusion about the Patreon thing. I need to clear this up, sorry. So I've changed the tiers on Patreon. There are now only 2 tiers. There's the $1 tier, which is, hey, you get everything, basically. And then there's the $10 tier, which is, hey, you get everything, and you can have a doodle. I just want to, I want to clarify that that doesn't mean you now have to donate either $1 or $10. If you want to keep donating the amount you're donating, that's fine. If you want to donate a different amount, that's fine. If you want to do $5, whatever, $2, $20, doesn't matter. So you don't have to automatically go $1. You don't automatically have to go up to $10, whatever. So I just wanted to specify that because there's a little bit of confusion about that. Yeah. Yeah, I hope people look forward. Well, I hope people. It's irrelevant whether or not they look forward. I hope people enjoy the things I have planned for next year. There's some good secret projects. I hope you enjoy them. They're a bit different. Yeah, get in touch and let me know if you want to do things collaboratively next year. Streams, art projects, music projects, whatever. I'm open for input. Which is a weird robotic euphemism. Can't wait for stuff. Me neither. I'm looking forward to other people's good stuff. Because remember, it's not just me, and I want to spend a bit more of next year sharing other people's stuff as well. Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's it. I guess that's 2020. It ends not with a bang, but with a whimper. Yeah. Thank you everyone for coming along. And I mean that not just for today, but for the entire year. You've all been very nice people, and I'm sure you will continue to be very nice people. Yeah. No, you. No, you. No, you. So, now you're rebranding for next year. I don't believe it. This is impossible. Also, I think I just broke the stitching on my glove. It's another thing I gotta sew up. I have so much sewing to do. Like 2 shirts and 3 pairs of trousers and now a glove. Yeah. I'm sure there was something else I was gonna say, but it's gone now. I hope you enjoy the things I have planned for next year. They are specifically designed to hopefully allow you to enjoy them. Whether or not that happens is up to fate to decide, but yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you all do as well, because you're all a creative bunch in your own ways. I'm looking forward to see the nice creativity and variety that's on display in amongst you, and hopefully share it with the rest of the world, because you deserve it. Thanks again to Christy for your lovely card. I will take a photo of it in a second and post it in Discord, because it's very nice. And it's a very lovely message inside. Yeah. Sure, there was something else. Anyway, not tomorrow. Saturday. Saturday's the next stream, isn't it? That's the one. There it is. We'll be playing a game. We'll probably play a few little games before we start another long playthrough. I have some little games. I have an idea for the first game of the year being the most non-violent thing I can possibly think of. So that's going to be fun. Got a Christy card as well. So nice. Oh yeah, Christy card. Yeah. So get ready for a very, very chill Saturday stream. It'll be very chill. And then yeah, Sunday creative. I did have some creative ideas and I didn't write any of them down. Bugger. I need to write things down. It's another thing. I will write that down on my list of things to do, is write stuff down. Yeah. So I hope everybody has a wonderful end to the year. Chibi Nether's Days might happen. Yeah, I didn't know whether or not that was going to happen, obviously, because tomorrow is New Year's Eve. It depends on how you feel tomorrow. Oh yes, because you got your stomach problems. Yeah, hopefully that sorts out. Hopefully you get better in the morning. Yeah. Hopefully everybody has a good remainder of the year, however much is left for you. And I hope 2021 treats you as well as you deserve to be treated, which is excellently. Go sleep again. Have a wonderful sleep. Good luck, Kiro, again in your bed, whenever that may be. Good luck, Miss, with your knitting and your blanketing. Good luck, Ragnar, with the crochet, and hopefully your school year is not quite so tumultuous. Good luck, Christy, with everything you're doing, with all your drawings and paintings and stuff, which is nice. And yeah, good luck to everybody else with whatever you plan to do. You deserve success and satisfaction. Have a grand old time, everyone. I'll see you around. I'll see you next year. Goodbye.